today's stop loss cluster video for the 15th of March for the QuasiDB service. We'll look at the volume profile for the S&P. We are bullish above 38.20. I think we could possibly come down to test it and then have a nice healthy bounce. The trouble is we haven't got any resistance if we look left, because obviously we're near an all-time high, and this is why signals and anything is going to be very tricky, because even the smart money aren't really 100% sure what's going to happen. So if they're not sure, the retail guys are going to be very unsure. So we might see some potential chop. When you look at this, you know it's an ascendance, but we haven't got any resistance. So really, we could continue to go. There is a POC at 38.20, so really we are very strong and an ascendance, but where we're going to go, it's unknown. The sentiment is very strong and very bullish, because we've got an SSI of -10. So every one person long, there's 10 people trying to short. So that's going to be bullish, because if they're selling it, they've got their stops higher up. And where will it go? It's going to come up to take their stops. And you could argue it's going to come up anyway. But there's another incentive to push price is to take retail stops, and just easy money for the banks. So if we look at a smaller time frame, we look a little bit toppy, because the current POC for this session is 3951. So if you're looking at an intraday perspective, we're bearish below 3951. So if we're above, buy, and if you're short, then keep that level in mind. And we've got the next point of control on this big session here at 3864. So we've got some way to go, 80 points to support. But if you look on the high time frame, we are very, very, very strong, incredibly strong. So it all depends on your time frame. So bear that in mind. We are strong if we zoom out. Okay. We'll look at AJ. Breaking this trend line, which is in accordance to the hourly view of the S&P. If you remember, we were slightly bearish below the point of control, and we suspected this line a few times, and so we're below. Signal was saying to sell, and the sentiment saying to buy. Very, very, very sideways on the sentiment. We haven't actually moved, so we need perhaps some big movement, and we can shake this up a little bit. SLC. I'll have to use my mouse. 8504, 8401. We've got some support here from that low, and we've got some resistance, but we've broken that line, so it's interesting. AU. There's your monthly pivot. Don't forget, signal saying to wait, sentiment saying to buy. Above 77.99, 77.15. I think this is going to get raided. It's too large and it's old. We've had a huge stop loss cluster for ages below price, so I think we're going to come down and absorb that, and then we can rally. But yeah, do keep an eye on your S&P. That's absolutely key. Do have a look at your indices if you're trading currencies. Don't just look at FX. You want to look at the big picture. Look at risk. Look at like indices and bonds, and then the FX will follow. FX doesn't lead; it follows. So EA. Breaking this big trend line. We zoom out. It's quite old. And SLC above 154.50, 153.39 sell. Signal saying to buy. So we've got a mismatch there. I might get into trading this one. It looks like it has potential. I might look at this later on in the week. Perhaps once that goes to buy, then I might get involved, I think. EU, there's your monthly support 1, I believe. You can zoom out, we can find out. Yeah, there's MS1, that's monthly pivot, that's support. 119.36, so I mean it could bounce off that. SSC above 1.2, it's ridiculous, and 118.99, so 119, 1.2. 1.20, so dead on the round numbers, which is really typical. We're undecided, and the signal's undecided, so Sit on your hands. GU, there's your monthly pivot. There. So that's the line in the sand. SSC above, 13957, 13859. We are by signal center weight on the technicals. Moving average trend is bearish on all time frames. NU, 7219, 7169. Buy weight on the signal. So there isn't anything so far that's in agreement. Not really. EJ, so this had the bearish wedge formation, so I probably shouldn't attempt to draw using these lines, but something I can't remember how it went. Autochart just drew something, and it looked like a good setup, so something along those lines, that low and then that low. But yeah, we're a buy here, and the signal center weight. We are very skewed on the MyFX books. I think we could have a reversal, and they are starting to go long as well. Remember, that's key. If they continue, then we'll come down. Pound yen, this is a monster trade. We're up 450 pips above monthly pivot. There, which is absolutely, that's just pretty insane, really. 463 pips above monthly pivot. So unless you're using your risk management on this pair, it can destroy you. So you know, have tiny sizes with this kind of volatile type of pairs. One above 152.30 and 151.20. We are by signal center weight. Moving average trends leaning towards bearishness and bullish on the H4D1. And obviously you'd have tight stops anyway. You wouldn't allow yourself to be in humongous drawdown. Dollar yen, 109.39, 108.92, signal center weight, the sentiment saying to buy. MyFX book are very, very skewed. 87% of people are short. So yeah, I mean, we could rally, we could argue we're getting close to the train, getting to the depot and dropping off its passengers. So it's a stop hunt. Really, so when it drops off the passengers, it takes their stops. So it's like station 1, station 2, station 3, and eventually we'll get to a final destination, like the King's Cross, and then we'll fall after taking so many stops. Dollar CAD, keep an eye on your oil. Signal saying to buy, the sentiment saying to sell. So it's very mismatched day to day. It's probably just a good idea just to watch. 125.02 and 124.30 dollar Swiss. There's your monthly support there as well. 125.13 dollar Swiss. One above is far away at 93.79. One below is 92.68. Signal center sell, and it's undecided 50-50. Gold's a bit of a tricky one. The COT data was bearish, but they're possibly they're looking at the COT data and think, well, you know, the big fish has sold it, and so will I, and they are actually selling it. So that pushed price up here, around about here. They shorted it, and of course we went up $10 or so. Yeah, just under $10 that move. If they continue, we can come up. So be careful. Signal saying to buy, and the sentiment saying to sell. So it's one of them days, I think. 17.38, 17.20 euro pound. Yeah, so I think we're going to chop. I think I'm still like tactically going to buy dips. I think as long as this holds, and if that breaks, then I'll change my bias. But monthly support 1 is down there. So yeah, we've broken this trend line, but fundamentals are in for a stronger pound versus euro. So it's fundamentally not a great idea to buy, but we have broken that trend line. So we see. And yeah, so I'll wrap up now. Hopefully you guys got the currency strength for me to work in. If not, I can help you. It did take a few attempts. I rebooted, and finally I got it working. It took some tweaking and toggling, and it was okay in the end. So hopefully good video. Keep an eye on your yen. think it's going to be a good one, and we'll wait and see. And I'll speak to you guys tomorrow.